For decades, we've been told that fat is the enemy, that it clogs arteries, raises cholesterol, and is a fast track to heart disease. But what if I told you if we had all of that wrong? Fat isn't the villain that it's been made out to be. In fact, it's essential for your health and critical for things like hormone production and brain function. Today, I'm going to break down the truth about fat, how it got demonized and why your body actually needs it, and how to get the right kinds of fats in your diet. Let's face it, fat has had a rough few decades. Starting in the 1950s, possibly earlier, the narrative that fat, especially saturated fat, was the cause of rising rates of heart disease, this idea took hold. The idea shaped government guidelines, food industry practices, and dietary habits for generations. But new science shows that this fear of fat was not only misguided, but potentially harmful. I'm Dr. Suresh Khirwadkar, and today we're going to explore how we went wrong, why fat is essential for our health, and how you can incorporate it into your diet in the right way. So how did fat get demonized in the first place? To understand this, we need to go back to the 1950s and one infamous study, the 7 countries study conducted by Ancel Keys. This study claimed to show a direct link between saturated fat, cholesterol, and heart disease. But here's the catch. Keys didn't present all the data. He cherry-picked 7 countries that supported his hypothesis from 22, and he ignored data from the other countries that didn't fit the narrative. At the time, heart disease was on the rise in the US, and Keys' findings were widely accepted as fact. His study became the foundation for low-fat dietary guidelines that were introduced in the 1970s, and the US government officially advised people to reduce fat consumption, especially saturated fat from animal products like meat, butter, and eggs. The food industry, of course, was quick to jump on board, followed rapidly by pharmaceutical companies, and suddenly we saw the rise of low-fat and fat-free products packed with sugar and refined carbs to make up for the loss of flavor that fat provides. These processed foods were marketed as quote-unquote heart healthy, but as we know now, they were really anything but. But was it true? The low-fat movement dominated for decades, but in recent years we've learned the science behind it was flawed. A comprehensive review of 21 studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2010 found no significant evidence linking saturated fat intake with an increased risk of heart disease. This study, which looked at over 350,000 participants, completely dismantled the myth that saturated fat was responsible for heart disease, and yet the low-fat narrative persists. Even Harvard's School of Public Health now acknowledges that carbohydrates, especially refined sugars and processed grains, are far more likely to lead to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease than the natural fats found in animal products. So if fat isn't the problem, what role does it play in your diet? The truth is, fat is essential for a variety of critical functions in the body, and cutting it out can actually do more harm than good. Let's look at why fat is such an important part of a healthy diet. Number 1 is hormone production. One of the most crucial roles of fat is in the production of hormones, particularly sex hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. Without enough dietary fat, especially saturated fat, your body can't produce these hormones in sufficient quantities. This is why many people who go on low-fat diets often experience symptoms like low energy, mood swings, decreased libido, and even possibly infertility. Your body uses cholesterol, which is derived from it's produced mainly in the body, but also produced from dietary fat as the building block for these hormones. If you don't have enough cholesterol in your diet, your hormone production suffers. This can lead to everything from weight gain to mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Speaking of mental health, let's talk about the brain. This is number 2. Your brain is made up of around 60% cholesterol and fat, and it relies heavily on dietary fats for proper functioning. This includes both saturated fats and omega-3 fatty acids, which are crucial for maintaining brain cell membranes and facilitating communication between neurons. Without enough of these fats, your cognitive function actually declines. In fact, research has shown that diets high in healthy fats can protect against Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative disorders. Omega 3s, in particular, play a vital role in neurodevelopment and mental health. Low levels of omega 3s have been linked to conditions like depression, anxiety, and ADHD. This is why eating fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines, is so important. So, another key benefit, number 3, is that fat provides a stable, long lasting energy source. At about 9 calories per gram, fat is more energy dense than carbohydrates or protein combined, both of which only provide 4 calories per gram. This makes fat a very efficient fuel for your body, especially when you're trying to maintain energy throughout the day. Unlike carbs, which cause blood sugar spikes and subsequent crashes, fat is a slow burning molecule and helps maintain steady energy levels. This is particularly important if you're following a low carb or ketogenic diet where your body uses fat for fuel instead of glucose. Additionally, fat helps you feel full and satisfied, reducing hunger and the urge to snack, which can help with weight management. Number 4 is nutrients and nutrient absorption. Finally, certain vitamins, specifically A, D, E, and K, are fat soluble, meaning they need to be absorbed by your body through fat. If you eat a low-fat diet, even if it's rich in these vitamins, your body can't absorb them efficiently, which leads to deficiencies. This is why it's important to include healthy fats in your meals, especially when eating foods rich in these vitamins. What fats should we eat though? Not all fats are created equal. Whilst we've established that fat is essential, I think it's crucial to understand the type of fat you consume makes a big difference in your health. Here's how you can make sure you're getting the right kinds of fat. Number 1 is saturated fat. For years, saturated fats were demonized as the cause of heart disease, but as we've already discussed, there's studies showing that were likely wrong, and newer research has basically cleared saturated fat of this false accusation. Found in foods like butter, cheese, eggs, and red meat, saturated fat plays an important role in hormone production and cell membrane integrity. What's more, studies now show that people who consume moderate to large amounts of saturated fat within the context of low-carb diets tends to have better heart health outcomes than those who replace fat with refined carbs. It's time to stop fearing saturated fat and recognize that it can be an important, healthy part of your diet. Next up is monounsaturated fats. These are some of the potentially best fats you can include in your diet, some would argue at least. These are found in foods like olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. But you know where they're also found? Animal meats. Beef, for example, may have up to 60 or even 65% monounsaturated fat. They never tell you that. They always say nuts, seeds, or olive oil. Monounsaturated fats have been shown to lower LDL cholesterol and raise HDL cholesterol, which may be potentially cardioprotective. Number 3 is omega-3 fatty acids. These are essential fatty acids that your body cannot produce on its own, so you need to get them from your diet. They're found in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, as well as small amounts in plant foods. But you know what else contains a lot of them? Animal fats. Omega-3s play a critical role in reducing inflammation, protecting against heart disease, and supporting brain health. They're also vital to maintain the balance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids in the body, as too much omega-6, commonly found in processed vegetables and seed oils, can promote inflammation. Number 4, we want to really avoid trans fats and, as I said, seed oils and vegetable oils. Whilst healthy fats like those from animal sources, potentially olives, maybe avocados, could be great for you, some fats should be avoided at all cost. Trans fats, which are often found in processed food and baked goods, have been directly linked to heart disease, insulin resistance, and inflammation. I should be clear here though, artificial trans fats like margarines and vegetable oils have been linked. Natural trans fats in things like cheese and butter and milk have not been linked to heart disease or other cardiovascular diseases. This is likely because they also contain high levels of omega-6 fatty acids, which are very problematic. These oils and margarines and so on are often marketed as quote-unquote heart healthy, but the truth is they're anything but that. I think we should avoid them at all costs and stick to natural fats like butter, coconut oil, perhaps olives and avocados, but also animal fats. I think it's really important that we understand how dietary fat impacts long-term health. This is crucial. We've already discussed the fat's benefits for things like brain function and hormone production, energy stability, and also its role in preventing chronic disease. This is perhaps the most significant. But let's just dive a little bit deeper into how the right kind of fats could protect you from some of the most prevalent and life-threatening conditions today that we face. Number one is heart disease. Believe it or not, fat is not the culprit, as I've already said. Inflammation is. For decades, we were told that saturated fat clogs arteries and raises cholesterol, leading to heart disease. This myth shaped our entire dietary advice for a generation. More generations, in fact. But new research is emerging all the time showing that this narrative was clearly flawed. In fact, studies show that refined sugars and refined carbs are far more damaging to heart health than natural fats. What's really driving heart disease is chronic inflammation. And as it turns out, healthy fats actually reduce this inflammation. A diet rich in fats from animal products, olives, avocados, and fatty fish, maybe seafood is not very fatty though, can help balance cholesterol levels by raising HDL, lowering triglycerides, and both of those things are strong indicators of improving heart health. Omega-3 fatty acids in particular have been extensively studied for their heart protective effects. Found in fatty fish, small fish like sardines, salmon, mackerel, but also animal fats. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, and improve arterial function. Studies show that higher intakes of omega-3s can reduce the risk of cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes. But it's not just about omega-3s. Saturated fats have also been wrongly vilified. Newer studies, as I've mentioned, have shown that when consumed as part of a balanced, whole food diet, saturated fats from butter, eggs, and red meat do not contribute to heart disease. In fact, these foods provide essential nutrients that are critical for overall heart health, like vitamin D, K2, and choline. So where did things go wrong? Well, the real culprits behind heart disease are things like processed vegetable oils and trans fats. These highly processed fats found in margarine, fried foods, and packaged snacks are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation and disrupt the delicate balance of fats in your body. The consumption of these oils, coupled with refined carbs and sugars, has driven the inflammation epidemic that fuels heart disease. Obesity and weight management. Fat won't make you fat. This is another common myth that eating fat makes you fat, but the reality is far more complex. The opposite is in fact true. Eating healthy fats can actually help with weight management and even promote fat loss, and here's why. Fat is actually incredibly satiating. When you eat foods rich in healthy fats like avocados, olives, or grass-fed beef, they keep you full and satisfied for longer periods of time. This means you're less likely to overeat or snack on high-sugar, high-carb foods. On the other hand, carbohydrates, particularly refined ones, spike your insulin levels, causing blood sugar rises and crashes that leave you feeling hungry soon after a meal. Fat also helps stabilize blood sugar. When you eat a diet high in refined carbs, your body is constantly pumping out insulin to deal with the excess sugar in your bloodstream. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, which is a major driver of obesity. Diets that emphasize fat over carbs, like low-carb keto or carnivore diets, allow your body to burn fat for fuel, lowering insulin levels and promoting weight loss. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that participants on a low-carb, high-fat diet lost more weight and had better blood sugar control compared to those on a low-fat, high-carb diet. The fat focus group experienced greater reductions in waist circumference, which is a very good marker of visceral fat and health, which is the dangerous kind of fat that surrounds internal organs and is linked to metabolic diseases like heart disease and diabetes. So not only does fat keep you feeling full and satisfied, it also enhances fat burning by keeping insulin levels low. This is why low-carb, high-fat diets are so effective for weight management. They encourage your body to burn fat for fuel rather than storing it. Number 3 is type 2 diabetes. And fats can actually help regulate blood sugar and insulin. Fat plays a role here, a key role in the prevention and management of type 2 diabetes. One of the primary drivers, if not the primary driver for diabetes, is insulin resistance, which occurs when your cells become less responsive to the hormone insulin, making it harder for your body to regulate blood sugar levels. This condition is often caused by a diet high in refined carbs and sugars. But here's the good news. By incorporating more healthy fats into your diet, you can significantly improve insulin sensitivity. A high-fat, low-carb diet stabilizes blood sugar and prevents the sharp spikes and crashes that lead to insulin resistance. In fact, studies show that low-carb diets are one of the most effective strategies for reversing type 2 diabetes. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Medical Internet Research showed that participants on a low-carb, high-fat diet experienced dramatic improvements in blood sugar control, with many reducing or eliminating their need for diabetes medications. Replacing refined carbs with healthy fats, those from such like fatty fish, olives, and meat, and saturated fats from animal products allows your body to use fat for energy instead of relying on glucose. This reduces the burden on insulin and helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, which is key for both preventing and managing diabetes. Number 4 is brain health and neuroprotection. Fats keep your brain sharp. Your brain relies heavily on fat, not just for fuel, but also structural integrity. The brain is composed of nearly 60% fat, and fats like omega-3s and saturated fats play critical roles in maintaining neuronal health, facilitating communication between brain cells, and protecting against cognitive decline. Diets rich in omega-3 fatty acids found in fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, but also animal products have been shown to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative conditions. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory and they help reduce oxidative stress in the brain, protecting it from the damage that leads to cognitive decline. Additionally, ketones produced when your body burns fat for fuel offer an alternative energy source for the brain. Studies show that ketones are a more efficient and cleaner burning fuel than glucose, leading to improved cognitive function, better focus, and mental clarity. A study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease showed that individuals on a ketogenic diet experienced improvements in cognitive performance and memory, suggesting that fats and ketones in particular play a protective, beneficial role in brain health. This is why diets like keto and low-carb diets, especially carnivore diets, which encourage your body to produce ketones, are being explored as therapeutic interventions for conditions like Alzheimer's, epilepsy, and even mood disorders like depression. Number 5 is cancer prevention and inflammation control. Fats can help fight inflammation. Healthy fats play a crucial role in reducing chronic inflammation, which we know is a root cause for many serious diseases, including cancer. Inflammation is your body's natural response to injury or illness, but when it becomes chronic, it can lead to cellular damage and increases the risk of cancerous growths. Dietary fats, especially omega-3 fatty acids, have powerful anti-inflammatory effects. They work to counterbalance the inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids that are found in processed vegetable oils, thereby helping to reduce inflammation throughout the body. By consuming a diet rich in omega-3s from fatty fish, monounsaturated fats from olive oil, and saturated fats from grass-fed meats, of course they have all 3 of them, you can create a diet that not only prevents chronic inflammation, but also lowers your overall risk of developing cancer. To sum it all up, fat is not only safe, but essential for long-term health. The idea that fat causes heart disease or obesity has been thoroughly debunked, and we now know that the right kinds of fat from natural, unprocessed animal sources are critical for heart health, weight management, diabetes prevention, and brain function. By including these fats from animal sources, mainly natural oils and omega-3 rich foods in your diet, you'll support everything from your hormone balance to cognitive performance, whilst also preventing chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and even cancer. So if you're ready to take your health to the next level by incorporating more healthy fats into your diet, head over to themeatmedic.com for more information on this, resources, tips, and guidance on building a fat-friendly, nutrient-dense diet.